So I'm crossing off 1,000 adventures on a bucket list, and one of those adventures is to read 100 new books, which I'm really excited for, but I did mess up just a pinch. I started reading a book without telling you guys what it was, and I also finished it without telling you what it was. So let's dive in. I'll give you what my initial impressions were of this book for part 1. It was The Last Letter by Rebecca Yarros. Y'all, okay. We're going to have a lot to talk about come part 2. So my initial impressions were that I loved the cover. It was cute. It was great. Then I got into it, and the first chapter didn't really blow me away. It was just kind of like, okay, whatever. Then chapter 2 came, and I was like, oh, it's a little bit more interesting. And then chapter 3, I was like, okay, now I can't stop thinking about it. And then chapter 4, I was like, I'm gone. I read the whole thing. I couldn't help it. It was wonderful. And so basically the premise of this is that this single mom, she has twins. Her brother's in the army, and her brother's like, hey, you should write to this guy. He'd be a great pen pal for you. And the guy that she's writing to, so her name's Ella. His call name is Chaos in the military. So she never can find out his actual name while they're writing, which is important. And she starts writing to him, and Chaos doesn't have any family. He doesn't have any friends. His whole life is wrapped up in the military. You know, he was a foster kid. He just really rough background, never felt loved, never felt worthy, so kept himself away from people out of fear of having something to lose. Yeah, so it kind of delves into their story, which takes insane twists and turns, and we can get into that way more in part 2, because it is not what you're expecting. It was not what I expected. And yeah, somebody in a book group on Facebook that I'm a part of, they posted that this book had broke them. I didn't know why for the longest time, but now I definitely do know. So if you want to find out what happened and why, jump into part 2. I will inform you before there's any crazy spoilers, so you can pause, fast forward, whatever it is that you need to do. But that will all be in part 2, and then in part 3 I'll give my final impressions. So come back, stick around. I'm always up to something. Give me a like, follow, subscribe. Maybe even just a share. Comment would help. Let me know if you've read this, what you thought of it. Let me know if you're going to read it, or what else you're reading that might just make it on my list. Talk soon.